Hi everyone, this is Kelly from The Truth in Story, and today I am here for day, I can't ever remember the day, 8 I guess. Today 8 of 31 days of tarot in January. I am also doing some work. I have readings, lots of readings that I'm kind of filming, and then you have to importing them and exporting them and all that. So I've done a few readings, and now I'm kind of doing all that process of importing, exporting, uploading. You know, it just all takes more time than you would imagine after you actually do the reading. So while I'm in the process of doing those kinds of things that have to kind of take time and kind of waiting time, I've been edging 2 decks. So I have the Heart of Fairy Oracle, which Boho Gypsy Santa Claus passed on to me, which I had for many years. I will be doing obviously a walkthrough of this, a review of this. This one I feel like I could actually review because I actually did use it for quite some time. So this, because if you see the front, it has a lot of blue, and even the front in here has a lot of blue, and so I did the decks in blue. I don't know that the color is actually showing up well. I will have to see when I look at this video back on the computer, but I'm actually really happy with it. It's Faded Jeans, the Jim Holtz Faded Jeans ink pad, and I'm really happy with the color. It could have gone a little bit darker, but I'm happy with how it has turned out. So I've been doing a set of those, and then while those are kind of spread out in one area and drying, then I have been doing this other deck, which is the Messenger Oracle. Now, this one has come out darker than I thought it would. The color of this is peeled paint. It's hard to tell exactly how a cardstock is going to absorb the ink sometimes. This is a much thicker cardstock, and so the thicker ones sometimes tend to be darker. Now, as this fully dries, it will go down a little bit, but it is fairly dark. I'm okay with that, to be honest. I don't really like the bright white. And you do have some darker tones in the insignia, as well as some little tiny things going on here. So I'm actually okay with it. I would like it to be absolutely perfect to this color. Yes, I would, because I'm that way. But you know, it's the other colors of greens. This is peeled paint. The other colors of greens were either very bright green, not kind of a mossy green like this is, even though it may not look like it is. Or they were like more yellowy olive, which might not have been bad, but I just, the green choices that I had, this peeled paint was the best option, and I'm quite happy with it. So it's a little, like I said, ideally, I would have liked it to be slightly lighter, but I think it looks really nice. It looks nice sitting down on the shelf. None of my Oracle decks are not edged, and so I had to edge this because I really am excited about this deck. That's what I'm doing. I need to finish that up because I did the walkthrough of this one, but I wanted to edge it so I could show it edged at the end of the walkthrough. So I'm kind of working on that, like I said, while things are importing and exporting and uploading and that kind of stuff. So that's what I'm doing right in this very, very minute. So this is going to be rather quickie because truthfully this has been one of those days that have been quite busy. Just been a busy day. One of those days I would love to just sit and play. Well, I have been able to play with tarot, but I needed to do work tarot too. So I wanted to see what, oh, here we go. What is I haven't even looked to see what the question is. What were the first 3 tarot spreads that you learned? Well, we might as well use my new to me Tarot of Delphi, because I have done the walkthrough portion of this, and so it can be shuffled. So I figure, why not? Now you can see my hands are all dyed blue and green. It's pretty dry. It's not going to come off on my cards. These edges I am going to be doing in antique linen to match this. but I will do that after I'm done with these. So I will say that the very first spread that I learned and that I used for a very long time. I really didn't get into smaller spreads. I wasn't all that fond of smaller spreads for a long time. And so I pretty much, and you're probably not going to be able to see this, but I pretty much used a Celtic cross. I did not always cross the middle card. Sometimes I did, sometimes I didn't. It just depended on the situation. Now, these are definitely not, well, I guess I'll do this. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Because obviously the rod part here that goes up isn't going to all fit going forward. But I will show you. And we've all probably seen, here's a basic Celtic cross. I wasn't one for significators. I still don't use significator cards for Celtic crosses. So I have 1, 2, and then you obviously have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Although I probably do a little bit different. I've kind of worked out my own sort of meaning for situation for each of the cards. So this would be your typical Celtic cross, and I used this spread for a very long time. I do have a video on the Celtic cross. I'm pretty darn sure. I think I do. I'm pretty sure I do. So this would have been my primary one. I read with this for a very long time. Now, sometimes I would take off this and just do the 5 card with the cross in the middle. Sometimes not. So I do like 5 card crosses. I use them in a variety of ways, either as the inner cross, as above and below, and past, present, future, and all the different things, the conscious and the unconscious, all the things you can do sort of with the cross part of a Celtic cross. Then sometimes I mostly use a 5 card to do with the elements. I do the expanded elements like I've talked about, where there's 10 of them that I saw in that recent guidebook. I can't remember which it was. So I really love doing the expanded. So I do like, that would probably be the second one where I just kind of started using just the internal cross, or a 5 card cross, in a variety of different ways. And then probably the last, third one would be a 3 card reading. This was quite later in I know that people start with 1 cards and 3 cards. I actually didn't do 3 cards for quite a while until I started thinking about going professional. This isn't when I actually went, but when I started thinking about it, I thought, I should probably not just have large readings. Like, I should probably read 3 cards. I really like the big picture of large tarot spreads. It's like a puzzle piece. That's why I like grand tableaus. I like to see how the cards are interacting with each other. I like to see how many suits show up, what number, sets of numbers that show up. I like that sort of I like the analysis aspect of a large spread. And so I really wasn't too interested in doing 3 card spreads, because I just felt, everything that I loved about analyzing a larger spread was kind of taken away. I have since come to absolutely love 3 card spreads. I use them quite a bit. I also really like 4 card spreads. There's a lot you can do with that. There's a lot of different ways that I will read a 4 card spread. So I like those. But the 3 card would be probably the third spread that I used. So there we have sort of the 3 cards. I don't use the Celtic cross much anymore, as I have shown I have a video of it. I generally am using a spread that has the past, present, and future. It has the 4 element positions that are very important to me. I have a video on this as well. I have a playlist of spreads. So any spreads that I've done are out there. It has, sometimes I do strengths and weaknesses, as above, so below. Different things like that, and that is way out of whack from the viewfinder, but you get the idea. Sometimes I do what crosses, a lot of times I'll pull the bottom one as sort of a next action or a shadow message, but generally in lieu of a large or a Celtic cross, this is generally the larger spread that I go with, and yes, that is absolutely beautiful. With this deck. I will say that somebody had asked me, messaged me, you know, again, I said, you know, would I trim these? You can see some of the artwork actually is thinner, like you really couldn't trim this deck. Although yes, in a sense, you know, if they were all this size and you could trim it into just the image and leave the bottom, it would be lovely. But in this case, there are cards that aren't in the exact same, like the World card. Some of them are skinnier, and so you couldn't actually do it. I just was throwing that out there because I saw that as I was laying that out. Sorry, this is really, I know everybody laughs at whopper-jawed, but this would be an example of what whopper-jawed means. Out of whack. So a little bit better, but that's generally the larger spread that I'm going to use nowadays over Celtic Cross. Although I know a lot of people hate the Celtic Cross. I actually quite love them. It's just that this gives, I want my 4 element positions. I want the 3 past, present, and future. I do like the conscious, the unconscious, the strengths, the weaknesses, you know, a variety of things that I use these 2 cards for. So it's just, it has everything that I kind of like to have in a larger spread. So that's why I tend to go with this one over a Celtic Cross. So there we have my first 3 spreads. Let me make sure that that's, what were the first 3 tarot spreads that you learned? So there you go. Those are the first 3 tarot spreads that I learned. Okay, but hold your horses, because we still need to pull. See, I can't pull from the Messenger Oracle because I have to finish doing those edges. Let's see what I have in reach here. Most of the new decks that I have got opened yesterday are placed in order. Yeah, so I don't want to shuffle those. Well, you know what? These Oracle decks, there's not that many in them. I'm just going to go ahead and use one of the Jasmine Beckett Griffith decks. We'll go ahead and use this one. I did put this one in order, but these are pretty easy. There's not like a tarot deck with 78 cards. So I do like the inside of this box, which you'll see all that when I do a walkthrough. I did the Messenger Oracle walkthrough. I did the Tarot of Delphi walkthrough. I haven't put them up or edited them yet because I had too much to do today. But I did do their walkthroughs because I very much wanted to look at the cards closely. So I stayed up quite late last night doing that. Now, if I were to keep this deck, which I don't know, but see, when I look at Oracle decks now, I always think this I would probably do. I have a real dark brown that I probably would do these edges for. It's the first thing when I see these bright white with these like dark, rich colors. Like, I just can't hardly stand that white. I almost want to do the edges before I hand it off to somebody and say, look, this is how the edges should be. This is, again, the Les Vampires or Vampires, however you may want to pronounce that. So let's just see what this card might have, or this deck might have to share with us about. These are kind of sticky because they're glossy. So here we have the Supernatural. inexplicable, miraculous, and otherworldly. And we can see we have these, well, obviously we have the, you know, the figure, which are in all of her images, but then we have all around her are fish with butterfly wings. So there are fish that are in the air. These are air fish that are butterfish, fish flies, butterfish. Butterfish sounds better. So this is things that are miraculous and inexplicable. Now let's just take a look, just for the sake, since this is a new deck, and see, because I haven't done a walkthrough with this at all. If we're looking at this as a blessing, which I think that we are, there are aspects to you that are divine and utterly connected to all the cycles and aspects of nature. You now feel secure and safe in developing and expressing your intuitive gifts more than ever before. So that's nice. I mean, it's a nice blessing. What I get out of this card is that idea that there is more to life than meets the eye, which is, you know, a little bit with what it said about, you know, using your intuition, using your gifts. And so I would say with this one that this is kind of a card that's calling to us to see the magic, like see the way, the wonder in the world, see the things that we don't see at first glance. You know, they talk about the realm of the Fae and things like that as being those things that you see out of the corner of your eye when there's shadows that are kind of clumped in the corner. You know, what is it that you see? What are the what is it that's really there in the movement of the shadows? Is it a pixie? Is it a little fey creature? Is it a little, you know, goblin-y thing or something like that? Like what's in the shadows? So it's that idea of being able to see what's not there and to tap into the inexplicable and allow for the inexplicable. Because I am certainly, because I'm a researcher at heart, I am certainly one of those kinds of people who wants to catalog and label everything. But sometimes we need to allow for the inexplicable. I love that word. Allow for the miraculous. Allow that everything doesn't need to be explained, because that's what magic is. Magic's the unexplainable. Now down the road, sometimes magic turns into science as they learn how to explain certain things. But what magic is the unexplainable by standard accepted methods. And so I think that we need to allow that into our lives. I think we need to make room for the inexplicable and the miraculous. We need to make room for fish flying on butterfly wings. So there you have a card reading for today about, or from the Les Vampires Oracle by Lucy Cavendish, and just is asking us to open our eyes a little bit to the wonder that we may not be able to catalog, and also according to the guidebook, kind of our ways of how can we, in what ways do we use our own intuition, our own internal power to produce magic in ways that we may not always be accepting and or expressing, that we may have the ability to do so. That may be in writing, that may be in many different creative ways. That is a beautiful type of magic in and of itself. So there you have it. I hope you all have an absolutely wonderful day, and I will see you all tomorrow.